Hello and welcome to Sutro Sidetalk, episode 142. I'm your host, Kamron, and with me is
James Seelig.
We are here again, another week, and still getting through the massive amount of things there are in the Witch Queen expansion of Destiny.
Yeah. I just finished the story last night on Legendary. At least I got through the whole thing on Legendary. And dude, it's a cool campaign. But yeah, now I just feel like I unlocked so much more to do just after finishing it.
Oh yeah. And that's why it's funny too, because you're like, oh, I'm about to finish the campaign. I'm like, there's more. There's so much more.
Yeah.
Potentially we should be able to have that episode ready next week. We'll see if we can do it next weekend.
Yeah. I could chip away at stuff over the week. Yeah.
But otherwise, this week, and also because of that, and we've been focusing on Destiny, unfortunately, Horizon 2 is kind of there. Like it'll be there soon.
I just got past the Vegas stuff. That's where I'm at. I still got
I'm still exactly where I'm at the very first day I played it.
Oh damn. Okay.
That's why I've just been playing Destiny. It's been fucking horrible. I haven't even played that much Destiny either. That's the crazy.
At least you've already done the raid though.
Yes, I did. It was insane.
I don't even know what the point of the raid is yet. I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I'm getting close to doing my third run of the legendary campaign. I'm gonna do it with my Titan because I want those exotics.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. Otherwise, this is the last day. I'm gonna sound potentially like this. Hopefully, we'll see. Well, like kind of nasally a little bit because tomorrow I go in for surgery to get my nose more or less fixed, not externally but internally. There's like things like deviated septums, nasal polyps, all this shit. I've had apparently a lot of nasal problems for like multiple years now that I shouldn't apparently have had to deal with for this long. That normally be like 2 weeks, get the shit out. And I was like, oh yeah, it's been years. I don't know. Oh, shit, whoops, I didn't know. So yeah, I'm going to surgery tomorrow. It's not really going to stop anything normal. Like I'm going in and out of the hospital the same day. And it's just going to be a week of no physical anything really. It's just like resting. So pretty much I could be on my computer working on stuff, watching stuff, playing stuff. Just no time at the gym, which I hate. Losing progress is the most annoying thing because I already had to deal with like my foot. And now it's like another week, maybe.
Dude, isn't that the worst? Like it always seems like something gets in the way of like your gym routine.
Yeah. And it's like because you just regain everything you previously lost. Then it's like, oh well, guess what? One more time won't hurt, right? It's like, yes, it will. Yeah. But yeah, this is Sutro Sidetalk, where we talk what we've been watching and playing every week, along with a couple select pieces of news. And this week we have two pieces. We are talking the PlayStation State of Play that we got earlier, and then the DC movie date switch ups. And it's like, I want to say delays, but there was also like, moving up, ironically.
Yeah, it's really bizarre.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that, of course.
Especially after seeing the trailer at the Batman.
That
look at all the movies for this year.
It's
1 week later.
That was honestly really stupid. It was very, very stupid. Yeah, it'll be that news. And then since we don't have a big feature thing, we're going to be talking specifically mainly our own sets of things we've been watching a lot. Among them, though, we will talk Always Sunny season 15. Among monster movies, James has been watching some stuff on Apple TV and whatnot. So we got some things to kick in there. But you ready to jump right in?
Oh yeah.
All right. I guess for these two, 5 to 10 minute timers, depending on how we're feeling. But yeah, we got the PlayStation State of Play this week, and they didn't really say what it was going to be. But normally, if it's a big thing or they're like it's on a specific game, they'll let us know. Like they said, Horizon 2 was a Horizon 2 one before, and Ghost of Tsushima as well.
I think for this one, they mostly were like, it's going to be stuff from our international partners and mostly our Japanese studios.
Oh, they did say that. Okay.
It's something like that, I think. I could be wrong, but essentially they were trying to be like, it's not going to be like
God of War.
Anything massive. Yeah.
Which is the only thing right now. It's like, Gran Turismo either, I think comes out this coming month, but they're not going to do it on Gran Turismo at this point. Like it's about to release. It's already here practically. And Horizon 2's out. The next big thing is God of War Ragnarok. And I think when the time to show that is going to happen with the release date, they're going to make a big deal about it.
Yeah, it's going to have its own.
Everyone will know.
It's going to have its own state of play for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but that seems to be what they do generally. They did that for Horizon.
Yeah, but we are going to just go through some specifics, not all of them, just the ones we found interesting, starting off with the mech dinosaur game from Capcom called Exo Primal.
Dude, the entire time I was like, oh my God, are they bringing back Dino Crisis? And like, kind of, but not really.
Not really. And it's coming in 2023, so it's a ways away.
Yeah.
But you look at this game, and there's literally portals opening up with dinosaurs
raining down. It's hilarious.
It's raining dinosaurs. It looks ridiculous, and I'm actually interested just because it looks like it just looks like it's going to be a fun game. Like it's just about gameplay, and that's all I care about.
Yeah, it's just like you in like exosuits fighting hordes of dinosaurs. That just on the surface sounds fun. I just thought it was really interesting. The design of the suits reminded me a lot of Anthem.
I was thinking the exact same thing when I was watching that.
But just like way cooler.
I'm like, watch this game where, you know, Anthem, you watch EA at E3 back in the day, and they're like, you could go underwater, but it's going to be like a full, think like Destiny, but with the whole system of Mass Effect, when you could talk to people, and it's going to be insane. It's going to be intricate. This story is going to be crazy. You're going to want to know about this world. And it's the biggest fucking failure of a game I've seen in a very long time. And then this game's like, yeah, the dinosaurs are just flying through these portals. It's raining dinosaurs. Get into a robot and go fuck them up. And it's like, this is what I've wanted. This is the game I've been waiting for.
I just really liked the different classes they had, like the tank with the shield actually being able to physically hold back the raptors. I thought it was super cool. And then like it looks like there's a healer and there's like a flying mage type thing. Oh, like it looks like a lot of fun.
And we see like, you know, human characters in a plane that seem like they're all the pilots.
Yeah, it seems like there's a story that I'm not going to care about.
Yeah. And, you know, maybe it'll actually be interesting. I don't know. Who knows? Like, it's not what we're there for. No one's going to be there for the story. Yeah. Everyone's going to be there to shoot dinosaurs and a robot. And that's honestly, at the end of the day, like I said, all you really need when it comes to a game like that. But, you know, Capcom recently has been doing really great. They haven't really made a bad game, I don't think, in a long time. Like, you have Street Fighter V was the last of
yeah.
You have two, like, all these Monster Hunter games that everyone has been enjoying a lot.
Yeah, they've been killing it with Monster Hunter. They've been killing it with Resident Evil the last couple games.
Like 7 and 8, the two newest, plus 2 remakes, 2 and 3, and then everyone's getting hyped, I think, for 4. So, like, yeah, they're on. I don't want to say on fire, but they're, you know, they're
doing good for now.
Yeah, they're very consistent, and that is, you know, when normally you would just say, you know, that's good. They're doing the bare minimum of like keeping things entertaining and good. In this unfortunate state of the games industry, that's actually phenomenal compared to other studios or other publishers, where it's like, oh, well, sexual allegations, or there's all this bullshit here. This one's got issues with their, like, Battlefield is flopped. It's just the 3 last Battlefield games have more people playing online individually, not combined, individually, than the current new Battlefield game. And then Ubisoft is just Ubisoft. It's like, oh my God, what happened? What happened with all of you guys? It's crazy. Yeah. But this game, it sounds like years away, or a year away. But co-op, single player, it looks fun. I'm excited for it. We also got some news for Ghostwire Tokyo. Saw a trailer there, and I gotta say, I'm excited for this game. It looks cool. A lot of reveals. I've been watching like a lot of the gameplay for it and the explanations for everything, and they're talking about like how they're using all these different types of Japanese ghost folklore legends to create all those different types of characters. And the way it works, it looks like you're just a magician. You're just like,
I like the hand animations. It looks very interesting.
And I didn't play the Evil Within games, but this does eventually, like, I want to get to them eventually on Game Pass. But
I hear they're really good.
They also incorporated a lot for the 3D audio. So if you got that
Ooh.
for PS5, that actually makes me want to get a headset faster. Like in time for this game, I'm like, maybe I
Yeah.
will get a Sony 3D headset or whatever
Yeah,
headsets.
I do not regret my purchase of getting one of those Pulse 3D headsets.
I almost want to get it just because it seems like it's like not that expensive. Like it's pretty
Also,
affordable.
that it's like a pretty good headset for like $100.
Yeah.
This is
So
not an ad. I just like my headset.
I think because it comes out March 25th, it's probably the next purchase I'm going to be making. And I think really the only one I'm going to make for the next like 3 or 4 months, most likely, because I don't see, they don't have anything else coming out. The only thing that came out this year that I didn't buy that I want is Dynasty Warriors, and I'm not in a rush to get that game.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything else that's like I need to get this immediately and play it. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, I want to play some Deathloop before this at least, and some other, Horizon 2. So it's like those two games are the ones I want to at least play before this game comes out. So I got like a couple weeks. Okay, maybe I'm not going to play it when this comes out, but I forgot that's not next month. It's this month. Never mind. But it looks cool. Otherwise, we got Forspoken stuff which was shown. I don't think it was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, they basically just revealed the new release date, which is in October.
And it was before coming out in what, May, or was it April?
I don't remember. I haven't really been that like cued into this game. Like it looks kind of good. I
That's
don't.
what
I'll wait for reviews for this.
I feel like that's what everyone's been saying. It looks okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I don't know has been the biggest, I think, comment on this so far. But
yeah,
nothing. I'm glad it was delayed because it's one less game for me to think about right now too.
for sure. Yeah.
Because I honestly, at this point, if they said, "Oh, are you going to buy this right now?" The way everything is, I'd be like, "No, not right now."
I haven't even gotten Elden Ring yet, just because like I don't have time.
Yeah, and George R. R. Martin too. I'm not doing it because of that. You
Right.
shouldn't need it, but I know you won't. Gundam Evolution, a free-to-play Gundam.
Oh, it's free to play?
Apparently.
Oh,
Yes.
Interesting.
Free-to-play FPS, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be on PS4 and PS5.
This one looked really interesting to me because it looks like they somehow made an Overwatch game, but like just with Gundam models as the hero characters, which is a very interesting concept.
A 6v6 combat that's FPS, and it looks interesting. I've always wanted to, now that I've gotten more and more into Gundam, like watching the shows, like right now I'm about to enter the early 2000s of the Universal Century series. It's gotten me more and more just like, oh my, I would love there to be a game. And I know there's Dynasty Warriors Gundam games, which I now want to play. But if there's a game like this, I'd be very interested to just see if it's like cool mechanics where if you're the pilot, you have like that cool field view and stuff. And each one's different because it's like, oh, here's like here's a crazy roster of all these different Gundams from different shows. So I think that's really cool. What else? Oh, the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fighting game.
I thought it was really funny. I was able to I guessed like, is this a JoJo game off of like one of the first shots? And I was like so surprised I was actually like right.
I think it's that iconic now where you get that feeling from just looking at it. And I've only watched, the first season or the first two Jonathan and Joseph. So I have a ways to go, but I'm like, oh man, I got to see all these characters. I don't know who the fuck these people are, but I got to watch the show faster. Anything else about the show? I mean, the game?
No, I mean, I don't know if I'll get it. I love the show or the series, but like, I don't know if I'll bother with like a fighting game. It is interesting, especially for the fact that like most of the characters seem to fight with their stands, but then there's like the two first Joestars that just like they just fight with Harmon.
Yeah. I think it's also like interesting always seeing all these different types of anime games that come out because I've never really been interested in that genre because I always assume it's like I look at it the way I would look at movie games where I'm like, oh, it's some weird license thing. I don't want to touch it. But maybe eventually I will take a chance on one day and just try them out. Maybe it'll be this one sometime, but I have no idea really. And then there was one more you wanted to talk about.
Well, besides like real quick, I think it's really cool that Returnal is getting campaign co-op like that. I wasn't expecting to see anything about Returnal, so that's kind of cool.
Returnal.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't bought Returnal yet.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of games, man.
There were like a bunch of Square Enix games at this conference, or not conference,
Chaos.
this show. Yeah, they
Yeah.
did actually mention that, that there's like a demo out, like a new demo out for that
For
one.
what's it called?
Uh,
Zero or something?
it's like Origins or something like that. Yeah. They actually capped off the show with a couple more Square Enix games. One was the Diofield Chronicles. That was like an interesting strategy look at game, maybe. But the last one though was Valkyrie Elysium, which I doubt there are a lot of people that like nowadays that would recognize this series, because originally like the one that I played was Valkyrie Profile, which was a PSP remake of the PlayStation 1 game Valkyrie Profile. It's an incredibly well written anime, or not anime, RPG, but it was extremely difficult, especially to get like the good ending and to get like all the story. I basically had to play it like while reading a guide,
Mm.
and so I never got through it because it was just really difficult. But I always wanted to go back to it. So when I saw what looked like a Valkyrie game, I was like, holy shit, they're bringing back Valkyrie Profile. And then it's not a turn-based RPG. It's like what looks like an action game, like maybe Souls-like or something like that. It's a very interesting, different take on this series for sure. But I don't know. I might play it because I liked that world. It was very Norse mythology heavy. Like you literally, like as the name might suggest, you play as a Valkyrie, and your whole job is to like find like people who die in tragic ways and give them the like the ability to fight like the final Ragnarok war to like gain, to basically help Valhalla win or something like that.
I was
Or
hoping you're gonna say you find people that died and you kill them again. I'm like, yeah.
no, so it's like you basically are like taking the souls of warriors and using them for like heaven's army or whatever. And it's, I mean, one, it's just bleak because Ragnarok is happening, like the world is ending. And then two, everyone that you like recruit into your party is someone who died. And it's usually in like a really sad, like unfinished business type of way. And it's
Mm,
just, it's a very sad but like very very compelling game. So I'm interested that they're actually bringing the series back in some way.
gotcha. Does it make you want to go back to the PSP games? And I guess either
Kind of,
start them
yeah,
over or do like finish where you started or
for
finish where you
sure.
left off.
Yeah, like if I could find a way to play those easily, or if my PSP still works, like if I could charge it up and it still works and the
Mine
battery's not
doesn't.
shot.
Mine
Yeah,
does
that's the
not work
sad thing. It's
anymore.
like a lot of PSPs just like their batteries just died because of age.
Yeah, I
Like,
tried. I plugged it in and everything. Tried to play while plugged in. Did not turn on. It's
yeah,
just dead. It's
I know
gone.
it's like not legal, but like if I could maybe also do like a PlayStation 1 emulator, I'm sure I could do that. There is a Valkyrie Profile too, I think, for PS2, but yeah,
You gotta pray
I
for
don't know.
that PlayStation Plus that incorporates all the
Maybe
incorporates PS1 through 3 plus PSP and Vita.
if they do that, that'd be phenomenal because like
Yeah.
it's, again, it's a really cool RPG series that was like very niche, I guess, at the time. And I guess nowadays I could just look up a guide online instead of having to like buy the strategy guide like I had to do back in the day.
I gotcha. I guess out of everything you saw at State of Play, which one stood out the most to you?
Definitely Exo Primal was the number one
I'd
because I'm
agree.
just like, this looks so fun and interesting. And
Yeah.
then
Why does it feel fresh looking at that game? It felt very
I don't
fresh.
know, because it's like we've definitely seen things like it. Like
It reminds me like it looks like Earth Defense Force
I
fun.
was literally about to say Earth Defense Force, except dinosaurs instead of bugs.
Yeah.
And then strangely enough, like I don't really have the nostalgia factor for Gundam because like I've watched some of it, but I haven't really gotten into that series much. But I love Overwatch and I love mechs. So the idea of a Gundam Overwatch style game is, for some reason, is really doing it for me.
Okay. I gotcha. That is all the news from the State of Play that PlayStation put out. And then the other news going into movies is from DC or Warner Brothers, I guess more appropriately. They changed up some things, and this comes right after a very, I'd say, you know, all all bets in trailer
It
that
was
they
a very
put out.
hopeful trailer.
They put out, okay, let's start off with this. They put out with the premiere of Batman. They put out a 2022 DC trailer. So, Marvel's been, as each Marvel movie comes out, they go, here's the next Marvel movie. Right now, you're getting trailers everywhere for Doctor Strange. This one was, oh, here's everything until a later, a sooner period when we can put out
4 movies coming this year.
Yeah, they're like 2022. We have the Batman, which you're seeing right now, but here's more of the Batman because it's popular and everyone likes to see Batman anywhere, and it makes sense. Then they go check out Black Adam coming in July, and you're like, oh shit, Black Adam, The Rock, and you got the full Justice Society of America, including fucking Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, which I just love so much. And then they go, oh, November or October, I forget which month. I think it's November, The Flash, and you're gonna get like multiple Flashes.
It's finally happening.
Sasha Calle, Supergirl, Michael Keaton, Batman for better for worse, plus potentially the end of Batfleck. And you're just like, oh god, I'm so worried about that movie for so many reasons, both for quality and what it means for the rest of this fucking universe of movies that have been a whole fucking mess. And then they go December, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And you're like, fuck yes, more Aquaman. That's honestly going to be the great way to end
That's
the
probably
year.
the one I'm most excited for.
Yeah. So they show that trailer. And like 1 to 2 weeks after 1 to 2 weeks after,
I literally remember like leaning into you like at the theater when we were watching Batman and going like, damn, if they actually pull this off, that'd be really impressive. At least I'm pretty sure I did that.
I think you did. And what's funny is the fact that you had to say that if they really pull this off, because it shows the track record of Warner Brothers and how bad they are at this, how fucking horrible they are at this compared to at least, Disney's like, oh, here's fucking everything for the next year from Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, and we could easily, it's fine, whatever the fuck. And you're like, oh, okay, they might delay something or go, hey, it's just going to go to Disney Plus. And then everyone at Pixar is like, for fuck's sake, this is the 3rd time this has happened. And you're just like, oh, okay, fuck. But no, Warner Brothers was like, guys, guess what? 2 weeks later, we got some news. They changed the dates of multiple movies and pushed them back. So only half of the movies they showed in that trailer are coming out this year now. So here are the new dates. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom has been delayed from December 2022 to March 17th, 2023. So a 3-month delay. I think that's probably the least bad delay. Black Adam has been pushed from July to October, now October 21st of this year.
Okay, so still this year.
Still this year, at least. It was also delayed, like 3 months about.
Yeah.
The Flash has been delayed from November 2022 to June 23rd, 2023.
Like so half a year.
Is now coming after Aquaman 2.
Weird.
After. DC Super Pets has been delayed from May to July 29th, 2022, and I don't care. Wonka, the fuck? Oh, right, there's a... Forget there's a Timothy Chalamet Wonka movie, March 2023 to December 15th, 2023. So Aquaman moved it out of that slot. So this is the weird one. Shazam and the Fury of the Gods was the one movie we knew for sure was coming in 2023. It has now been moved up from that year to December 16th, 2022. So now we're somehow getting Shazam before the Flash and Aquaman, when the Flash and Aquaman were supposed to happen before that. So now the Flash went from 3rd in line to 5th in line.
Damn, that's so weird.
Is that weird?
Like,
also the Meg 2 will premiere on August 4th, 2023. Jason Statham returning for more Shark.
I keep making this joke, but it just feels like they keep telling me that the Flash movie is going to happen eventually, and I just don't believe them. They keep pushing it back.
Well, what's the interesting thing about the Flash movie is it is the one persevering film from the original slate that was shown up before the BVS premiere.
True.
And they're like, hey, check it out. Wonder Woman movie. There's a solo Batman movie. There's Justice League Part 2, 1 and 2. There's Cyborg movie, Green Lantern movie, the Flash movie. And then I think eventually they also said a Shazam movie, and you're like, oh my god, that's crazy!
Yeah.
Look at all these fucking Cyborg and then Suicide Squad and shit. And you're like, wow, why is Suicide Squad so early? But whatever, that sounds cool. And then you're like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. But what happened to all those movies? Green Lantern is still kind of, they changed it. It's now Green Lantern Corps, and it's coming eventually, and it's Lethal Weapon in Space with Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan.
I forgot
And
about
then,
that, yeah.
I know, right? Everyone forgets about that. Cyborg is fucking dead. Justice League Part 2 is fucking dead. The Flash is the only thing that hasn't come out from that era that's left, and it's still kicking, but it's like, okay, what's going on? And now there's two potential outlooks from this. Potential one is COVID's been hard, and post-production is more difficult than people anticipated, even though we've seen footage and it feels like it's been enough time compared to like every other movie's been fine. Like I know movies get delayed, but they still are making it out usually, and the delays we've been seeing has been from like injuries on set and stuff. But now they're just saying like they're not saying anything really. So it's either visual effects, or there's a merger about to happen or happening currently with Discovery, and they were like, oh, let's move some things around, which has caused some very interesting Twitter conjecture, which has been very much like, Discovery has been listening, Restore the Snyderverse is happening, holy shit, fuck. And you're like,
I doubt it.
Probably not, but maybe, but probably not. It's so, right now it's so up in the air, and the fact that the issue is all of these movies that are always announced, all these plans they make have always been so obscure, so like kept in the dark, that it forces people to come up with theories. It forces people to go like, oh, is it going to be Restore the Snyderverse? Is it going to be Zack Snyder returning? Or is it going to just be like, hey, we're just fucking moving shit around because, you know, whatever, visual effects, and the merger is happening, and we're just trying to figure out a better plan because maybe Discovery has stuff that needs to go in between everything. Who knows? They're not really giving us anything to go off of here. And the whole thing with Discovery merging is we don't know what's going to happen. Like, we've already seen like the DC Comics offices are being closed permanently, and it's the physical spaces, and everyone's working pretty much remote.
I guess that makes sense.
It makes sense, but also it's kind of crazy the fact that they don't have a fucking office. You go, oh, I work at DC Comics. Where's that? It's in my house. And you're like, okay. Yeah.
It's a new world we're in.
Yeah, so you don't.
No one needs to be anywhere.
You don't know what's going to happen at all with any of this, and you're like, well, what do we know about the Snyderverse? Well, we won't know about what Snyderverse, DCEU in general is until we see the Flash. Well, what do we know about the Flash? Well, we won't know until, I guess, maybe we see more about that Discovery merger, but we don't know until that's finished. So it's all these just different forms and steps of wait and see. And it's kind of like, at this point, more annoying than anything because of lack of answers, and also the fact that there's all these delays all the time. And, you know, I'm always one to be like, especially when it comes to games, like, I understand delays, do what you need to do, whatever is the best for the team, and whatever is the best for them making the best product that they can possibly make. Like, it's okay to do it, we can wait. Whereas some of these movies, I feel like, have been such development hell. It's like we're giving you time, but it's been like 10 years, man.
Yeah, like especially the Flash movie. It feels like one of those movies. It's like, it's just never gonna happen because it's been, you know, coming soon for forever.
Yeah. The only thing going for it is the fact that we got the Uncharted movie, and they're like, hey, look, things do come true. And you're like, oh, all right, maybe.
Sometimes miracles happen.
Maybe, yeah. Now we get the Halo show, and it's like, well, okay, that we didn't want actually that. That's, maybe we didn't want that to actually work, but you know, we're getting it anyway, for better or for worse. It's all more wait and see. And now our soonest DC movie is not July, and we have to wait all the way till October because I don't care about Super Pets. I'm sorry. So
yeah, I mean, that one looks like it's more for kids, which is fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's just not for me.
It's just not for, it's not for adults or non-family adults, I guess. Yeah. But that's it for the DC news. Now let's get into what we've been watching and playing, and pretty much for this episode, probably just watching. And starting off with something we both actually watched, which was the 15th season of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
which
like
is crazy
longest running
15.
sitcom in history, I think, at this point.
Yeah, and they are doing a phenomenal job, even with it just being 8 episodes in this new season, and they did some fun stuff.
Yeah, I liked it. This season kind of had like an ongoing story. Like most episodes in each season is like a separate like scam that they're trying to do or something like that.
Unless it's like the investigation of like the murder of what's her face, Ponderosa or something.
Yeah, for sure. But this one, like, it kind of starts with Dee getting a job at like an acting gig in Ireland, and then they just kind of like all go to Ireland, and then stuff kind of just goes on from there. It was a very funny season.
I'd say that's about half the season. That's like 4 episodes of the season.
For sure.
The other half is more that's the fun part about the season. I think it's like it's a combo. You're getting your normal one-shot episodes, but then you're also getting a weird cohesive, like, here's 4 episodes of the gang in Ireland and all of the insanity that ensues from it. And the first episode is something very interesting that they do, because I didn't even realize, like, we haven't gotten Always Sunny in a while. And they addressed that. They're like, oh, what'd you guys do during the pandemic?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. It was the pandemic episode. Oh, my God. That was so funny. And
that was the funniest thing.
They like Forrest Gump themselves into like so many parts of the pandemic, just like saga.
Yeah, you had 3 big things that they were like, oh, we accidentally may have taken part or caused certain parts of these issues, which was Rudy Giuliani, fake hair, sweat.
That was so funny.
That was hilarious.
Frank was selling his own brand of like hair dye or whatever, and like that was his fault.
I just love the way
he for that batch used like shitty Chinese motor oil or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Instead of the normal American motor oil.
Yeah.
I just love the way he tells the story. Yeah, it feels like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, yeah, and I got really good at it, and then all these guys come in, and some top-notch guys, they want to, it's my dream, I finally got to do it or some shit. And because doesn't he do it to himself first and then he opens the business? Yeah. So that was fucking hilarious. And it's like, yeah, Rudy Giuliani, he did his hair, and then it even like shows him at the end, like with the guys at that shitty rally that he's at.
Yeah,
which was like, it was weird. It was like in the middle of nowhere, like really sad. Then you had, what was it? Dee and Charlie had supplied the costume for that one guy at the riot at the
the
January 6th
guy.
Yeah, the dude with the fucking like animal hide or whatever the fuck yeah. So you have that, and it shows him put it on, and you're just like, oh my God, it's this fucking guy. That was too much. And then what was it?
Like
Dennis and Mac.
Yeah, Dennis and Mac like accidentally were the ones at fault for like the election results getting delayed.
The Pennsylvania like the fraud or whatever, because they accidentally used a fake ballot box for what was the
like
contest?
Who's cooler, like Donovan McNabb or Rocky Balboa? And like Mac was arguing Rocky Balboa because he's just like a cooler character, and I think Dennis was like, well, Donovan McNabb is cooler because he's a real person.
It's a real person, yeah. And they're like, yeah, this is the polls for it, and it's right in front of the real poll.
And it's just like, if you looked close enough, you could see it's like a vote for like McNabb or Balboa, but it was like so small that it's like I could see how so many people would make that mistake, and like that was like the whole point. And I just love the guy like auditing them or something the entire episode. It's like, wait, are you telling me that you might be responsible for the delay in the like announcing of the election results? And they're like, oh no, we're entirely responsible.
And then they're like, they have the goal to ask for another loan.
Yeah.
And then I love that at the end it shows all 3 of them at the different places.
Yeah, the guy was there because he was like auditing them to see how they used their like PPP loan or whatever.
Yeah, and it was fucking used for all those different events.
Yeah.
So fucking good. You had that. You had a couple other like small episodes that they did.
Yeah,
And
Lethal
then
Weapon 7.
they did Lethal Weapon 7, which was fucking hilarious because they had that actual pimp, I think, that was just there. And then they did the monkey that pours the beer.
Oh yeah, the game. Well,
Or is that
that
the
was episode 4. The gang replaces D with the monkey, which is pretty funny. Like I love. It's like it keeps mixing them these like amazing or pouring them these amazing beers, and they're just like, I don't know how it's doing this, but these beers are just amazing. It's like been spiking them with like whiskey.
the whole time?
So it just got them like extremely hammered and just robbed them.
That was so good.
But the one before that was the gang buys a roller rink, which is like a
That's what it
flashback.
was. I forgot that was such a good episode because it shows them all as these like good people except for Frank. But
Yeah. And I love that they kind of explain why for the longest time they called D like Sweet D.
yeah,
And it's because she actually was like a nice person until she like I guess got brain damage.
she literally hit her head and became a different person.
Yeah.
And she went from Sweet D to stupid bitch bird, I guess, more or less. And then you see Dennis is actually a great guy who's really nice, but then gets fucking destroyed because he sees Frank have sex in front of him.
Oh
He's like,
yeah.
be here when you do business, and he has no idea.
Yeah. I love that whole misunderstanding. He's like, I want to see what you do, Dad. He's like, you want to watch? What? I don't know. I don't know, Dennis. This is really weird, but like, okay, fine. Maybe this one time. Yeah, like, and then for some reason, Dennis, like, he actually stayed the whole time, which is like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, I think he was more petrified, like he couldn't move at a certain
Yeah,
point.
maybe.
What was it? Charlie actually had a stable job and he was doing good.
Yeah.
I forget what was Mac's thing.
He
Mac
was
had
like also working at the roller rink, but like also dealing drugs on the side.
yeah,
Uh,
so good. But I loved it. It's so fun seeing them like actually not pieces of shit, except for
yeah.
Frank.
And then I love at the end of the episode, it ends up like explaining how they decided to buy the bar instead of the roller rink.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was great. Yeah. I think it would have been better if they actually did get the roller rink. They would have been in so much of a better state of life, most
Possibly,
likely.
yeah.
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 And Charlie had a shit ton of money.
Oh my god, yeah. It's like uh yeah, like he was the one that had the most money for the investment. He's just like, is this a lot of money? They're like, holy shit, Charlie.
And then like they go back to modern day and they're like, shut up. Like they're basically like, shh,
Yeah.
don't remind Charlie.
Yeah.
But then the big thing is they go to Ireland and it's
Yeah.
a whole like 4 episode event where one of the episodes is literally called The Gang is Still in Ireland.
Yeah, it's the second one. I love like from the get-go, like Mac is like, yeah, I'm Irish. I love my Irish heritage. I love that we're in Ireland. I'm gonna find my old house, the house of MacDonald. And it's like they go to the address that his mom gives him, and it's like a McDonald's. And it's just like he spends so much time, like he calls her and he finds out that he's not actually Irish, he's Swedish.
Dutch.
Or was it Dutch?
It was
yeah.
Dutch.
And he's just like, it just destroys him. He's like, I don't know who I am anymore. My entire existence is being Irish. Like that whole thing. And then eventually, like in one of the later episodes, when they like reveal to him, it's like, no, we just didn't want to hear you talking about how much you love being Irish the whole time. So we paid your mom to lie to you.
Which was so fucking good.
Yeah, it's like she flipped like immediately. She didn't care at all.
Oh my god. Wasn't it he had like a tattoo on his thigh or something that they were like, it's such a shitty tattoo that we don't even like that you have that?
Something like that. It was like it's like, I'm getting another Shamrock tattoo. No, Mac, you don't get another Shamrock tattoo.
I love that each person has like a whole thing that happens with them, and it's like that was Mac is probably the well, actually Mac he also goes to that church and is like, I forget. Was that dude? I forgot about that. I don't remember anymore. No, it wasn't gay. He was just like little boys, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, dude. Like... I love that reveal where it's like he's the entire episode. He's talking to the priest and saying like, yeah, I'm like, you know, I have these urges and like I don't want to follow through with them. I want to be a good Catholic and stuff like that. And the guy's like, I totally understand. I absolutely understand how you feel.
And he
I'm the
sounds like a
same way.
stand-up guy. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah. And then at the end of the episode, when Mac's like, I've finally decided to like join the church, like we're gonna live together, we're gonna help each other out and like not follow our urges. And the guy's like, yeah, we just have to, you know, watch each other and make sure like we never leave each other with the wee ones alone. And Mac's like, wait, what?
So
Like,
fucking good.
it's like, what? Well, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, I'm just gay. And the guy's like, oh, yep, that's what I am.
Me
Just,
too. And it's
just
like,
gay.
oh no, they're actually pedophiles. Fuck.
And Max is like, God damn it.
And then isn't it
so
after
funny.
that he finds out he's actually Irish again, which is the best.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Oh.
But you have him with that. D becomes a bog witch at a certain point.
Yeah, she becomes like a banshee that curses Charlie's. Apparently, we find Charlie's actual, most likely his biological actual father.
Who's I forget what the actor's name is, but he's a well-known actor.
Yeah, he was in oh god, one of the Star Treks. I want to say Next Generation. It might have been Voyager.
But he is a cheesemonger,
Which makes so much sense for Charlie.
I don't, dude. You know what's funny? Okay, for a long time, for most of my life, I didn't know what a cheesemonger was, or at least that's not what I thought a cheesemonger was. When they're like, "Oh, your father's a cheesemonger," I literally thought like, "Oh, the town hates him. This guy steals all their cheese."
No, he just like makes and sells cheese or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a fishmonger.
So, the whole time I'm always just like, oh yeah, a monger. That means the dude steals a specific thing all the time. And I thought
just
that
like
for years.
I was like, I just love that like all of Charlie's like weird quirks just fit with this guy.
Yeah.
And like I love when they like they're bonding at the tavern or whatever, and they start doing like the Irish like rhyming song or whatever, and Charlie like actually keeps up with it. It's such a good touching like scene.
And all the Irish people are like, ah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, this is amazing. I love it.
It's so good. And
then his dad dies.
It's funny too, because Charlie feels like he's actually normalizing. Like he actually feels like he's becoming a normal person again. And then you're like, oh, Frank is a fucking horrible influence. The fact that they're also sharing a bed and eating cat food before they go to sleep, that also probably doesn't help. But
oh god. And then Dennis gets COVID.
Dennis gets COVID. You have D. The whole thing with the Bogwood shit with D, where every single time something happens, something worse occurs, where, you know, she keeps like getting destroyed from trying to get into this movie, and then eventually like tries to go out with I think a doctor, and then each thing happens where she can't do a certain thing, so she gets fucked up, or she gets fucked over consistently throughout the entire thing, and it ends with like her and the waitress at a bog, and Dee's stuck, and like the waitress helps her out. She pushes the waitress in, and then becomes
she
the
just
bog
leaves her
witch.
there.
So good. But yeah, Dennis getting COVID was the funniest shit, because he's like, I'm fine, guys. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, there's a lot of dust.
It starts off like somewhat subtly, where he's just like he tries to smell that waitress's like hair, or no, it wasn't waitress, it was the bartender. He tries to smell her hair, and he's like, "You're not a real redhead. Real redheads have a smell to them." He's just like, "Get out of here, creep!" And it's just like, yeah. And then he can't smell like the corpse of a dead cat, and like can't taste anything. It's just like, and people keep telling him like, "Dennis, you have COVID,"
and he's like, you know, they're like, "Why don't you get vaccinated?" And he's just like, I forget what his excuse was. He just never did.
Yeah,
but
something like that.
Eventually it turns into him going insane and trying to kill D in the house.
Well, they rent a castle, and then like in the middle of nowhere, he's just like, in the middle of the night, he starts like wheezing. He's like, okay, I can't breathe. I do have COVID. Call the hospital. It's like, I can't, there's no reception. It's like, well, get in the car. Like, I can't, the battery's dead. Well, ring the bell. Like, what? The bell tower, D. Ring the bell.
But before that, though, he tries to kill her.
Oh god, and yeah, he just goes absolutely insane.
It's like, oh, are you possessed by a ghost? And it's just his COVID making him go insane. And then the
Yeah.
whole thing, Frank's like, yeah, I'm was it immunized?
Oh,
And
like
you're like, oh, you're immunized? And he's like, oh, I have COVID too. And you're like, what?
well, it's like this happened after Charlie's dad like actually dies, and they're going up the mountain because like there's this whole like Kelly tradition of tossing the dead like
Into the
off,
ocean.
yeah, into the ocean from the specific cliffside. And like as they're going up, they're trying to figure out like Charlie's been blaming Dennis the whole time for like killing his dad with COVID or whatever. And then eventually it's just like, yeah, no, Dennis is like, yeah, I was never near your dad. Like, there's no way I could have possibly given it to him. It's like, well, everyone else here is like vaccinated, like, right? And they get to Frank and he's like, what? I didn't get the jab. Like, I'm not doing the government like vaccine shit. Like, wait, what?
He's like, yeah, I'm immunized. I took all the oral stuff. And they're like, oral stuff? Yeah, I
Yeah.
chugged bleach. And you're like, what?
So it was like, yeah, apparently Frank like probably got COVID and then passed it to like Frank, Charlie's dad, and killed
And
him.
probably Dennis too.
And probably Dennis, yeah.
God. After all that shit too, where he's jealous of Charlie having a dad. Or
Oh, God, they
he's
made him
jealous
eat a
that
turd.
Charlie has a dad instead of him.
Like they made him eat a turd because they told him it was like a sausage or something.
Who eats it? Frank eats it, right?
Yeah, he does.
Uh,
Because they tell him it's like an Irish delicacy, and he's just like trying to keep like save face or something like that.
yeah, dude, the Ireland shit was so good. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Ah, good times. Oh, and also, wasn't it Dennis is like they're supposed to be carrying the bag, and Dennis lets go, and they're like,
Yeah, it's
the
like,
weight didn't shift at all.
it's like, wait a minute, it actually got way lighter. And it's like it turned out he'd been like hanging off of it the whole time, so that he didn't have to work.
Sickly man. Oh god, what
Oh
a
my
great
God.
time.
This
But,
show's so good.
yeah, it's so good. I can't wait for the next season. And I understand why it was like so little episodes, but you know,
Yeah.
in that low quantity, they had high quality.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
easily. You know what's funny? The one episode I want to go back to watching, and for some reason, is the zoo episode, because they're just, I don't know why, I just remember they're like, yeah, a bunch of dads will go in there and
Oh,
case some shit.
I just love the like bonding experience at the meerkat. It
Oh
was
yeah, when they
so
all
funny.
come up and they're like, and they start playing like the fucking Lion King music and shit. Oh
Yeah.
my god, it's so good. I love that show so much. That's the thing, guys. FX somehow just puts out really good quality. Like, I don't think any other channel that's like not the premium ones like HBO Stars and stuff makes as consistent content as FX, where they're like, hey, Always Sunny, Sons of Anarchy, Mayans, What We Do in the Shadows, Legion, all there's Archer. Like, they just somehow get Fargo, which I still have to watch Fargo.
Yeah, I
But
still need to watch that too. I hear it's really good.
they just somehow keep making only good things. It's crazy how they have probably the top quality of any channel that's not like a premium paid channel.
Yeah. It's like shocking how good their stuff is.
Yeah. And they keep on going. That's why I'm always excited when they say, oh, it's coming to FX. I'm like, oh, it's going to be probably really good then. Or at least it gives me that hope where I'm not as worried as certain things like Lord of the Rings on Amazon and
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings on Amazon and Lord of the Rings on Amazon.
And Halo on Paramount Plus.
Halo on Paramount Plus, Lord of the Rings on Amazon, and also Halo on Paramount Plus.
Yep.
All of those different shows that we named. There's about 8 different ones there. All right. Now that we've gotten that out of the way and going into the individual areas, is it okay if I knock out a couple movies here?
Oh yeah, you go first for sure.
All right. So, you know, of course, I do the Monster Movie Thursday things, screenings with some friends.
Mhm.
We built up a good amount to talk about here, and I have a couple really not long at all, pretty short ones. But we watched The Cave, which has, of all people, Lena Headey in it. So
Sounds familiar.
seriously,
I don't know why.
Game of Thrones.
The Cave.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's straight up people go. There's 2 movies that I always think about for this one. It's confusing because it's like 2 different sets of people going in caves and shit. One is like a group of women that go spelunking, and there's like a crazy race of subhumans in there, and it's like a whole murder fest and everything else, and one of them get out. This one is different where they're going on like a scientific research thing, and I think it's supposed to be in like Russia or some like it's like in between Turkey and Russia or something. And they go in there, and it turns out there's these creatures that are in there, and they try to start pretty much like killing them all. And what happens is it turns out these creepy looking creatures that are like crawling around and all this shit were all people before. So originally, I guess the guys that were down there, one of them ate something that was in there that wasn't good. Like it's a whole crazy cave system that has water and everything else. It's like a full like under area environment. There's even these crazy like mole things that are massive. It's like giant moles and stuff. Um, I guess some of the guys, like I said, previously down there, ate something or did something where one of them turned into a creature, and once it like hits, infects it, whether it's a scratch or something else bites it, they will also turn. And it seems like they're blessed with either long life, but they're monsters now, so there's nothing humanistic about them anymore. And there's this crazy killing ground that they find at one point that has like, it looks like dudes from different times of civilization that were down there and basically turned or like fought for their lives until they died. And what's really cool is it's a very strange thing where the crew splits into like two teams, and it's like, oh, here's the climber guys, and one of them's infected, he's leading, and he's like, listen guys, I got their senses now, I could lead us out. And they're like, I don't trust him, he's the one that got us in here in the first place. And the science people are like, we'll go the other way. And you're like, in your head, you're like, oh, listen to the science people, the guy in charge is probably turning and you don't trust him. And they do a whole thing where it's like, oh no, there's no lesson to be learned here. The climber guys are right the whole time. The guy that got the powers also was right the whole time, and you should have listened to him. So like it ends up where almost all of them die except for two of them, or three of them make it out. And Lena Headey's character is like wearing shades at the end, and she like opens it, and it's like, well, this, I guess they finally got out though. And you're like, what do you mean? And I guess at one point she got scratched, and it shows her eyes, and they're like changed, and you're like, oh shit.
Okay.
And she gets out of there, and you're like, she like blends in with the crowd where the guy can't find her anymore, and they're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen now? It's a fun movie. It's just like a monster cave movie. Everything's dark. There's some really cool characters that are very like badass. There's like one girl that can like climb really well and ends up like fighting one of the monsters and kills it but dies in the process, and you're just like, shit, the coolest character died. But there's that. And then a much more notable movie, which is a monster movie I think everyone should watch, is a Korean film called The Host. And The Host is about like,
that also sounds familiar.
It's really cool. It's like a pollution monster where this doctor a couple decades before, I guess, like poured some chemical fluids that were supposed to be properly disposed of, and he's just like, oh, just pour them down the drain. And it's some white doctor telling like the Korean assistant what to do, and the assistant's like, I don't think that's procedure. And he's like, more or less, he's like, who's the doctor here? Pours it down the drain. It eventually mutates something, or mutates like trash or some animal or like small molecule, and turns it into this creature that ends up just eating people. It like doesn't do anything until it finally grows, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna go up on this bridge, turn into a cocoon, and everyone's like, oh, what is that thing? And it's such a like public event where the monster comes out, and it's at like a festival time, and it starts just demolishing the festival, killing people, and you're just like, what the fuck is happening? And it turns into like a whole, oh shit, our secrets of what we fucked up with are coming to light. So they try to do like a whole quarantine of the area. And the main thing it's about is a little girl gets kidnapped, and it's about her family trying to get her back. And the family's like a father and his three kids, and they're all pretty much failures in different ways, where like the son that had the daughter is a big fuck up, but there's like something wrong with his head for the most part. And then the daughter is a really good Olympic archer who like fucks up because she, I guess, like hesitated too much, and it cost her the gold. And then there's like a brother that went to college who's like, I went to college and it didn't get me shit. So you have like these three guys going after the daughter, and their father's there, and like one, like certain characters die in it, and it's actually really sad when it does happen. And it really, like, it's a weird monster movie where you feel for the characters, like you actually are invested in them, you're invested in what's going on. and the deaths that occur in the movie are really sad, and you're like, fuck, I can't believe that happened. But it is honestly one of the best monster movies I've ever seen. Like, it's a movie where I watched it recently again, but when I was at school, we probably watched it 4 or 5 times while we were there. Like, it was like one of these movies where we're like, oh, it's a late night. We watched a couple movies already, and the rest of our friends left. Do you want to stay longer and just chill? And it's like, yeah, what do you want to watch? Oh, let's put on The Host again. Like, that's how good it is. It has a very good replayable value for sure. But those are 2 monster movies I've watched recently. If you want to talk about something.
Yeah, so I've been watching a couple Apple TV shows recently.
What
One
I
of
think
which
you're gonna
is
say Apple Teeny.
no,
Easy on the teeny though.
yeah,
That's
nice Scrubs reference.
yeah.
No, I was just thinking like, oh man, I wonder if Apple could actually use that as like a joke at some point for like an ad, but whatever. They make enough money anyway.
Yeah, they're fine.
But so Severance I've been liking, but that's not done yet. So I'll like talk about that when like the season's over. But the other thing that just finished was The After Party, which at least I think at least I just finished it. It was an interesting show. It was like kind of a murder mystery movie where it's like one of the characters dies in the first episode, and the whole thing is like the cops interrogating every character that was like at this like high school reunion after party to figure out like, well, who had motive to kill this guy, like what is everyone's recollection of the night, and like that could already be like interesting enough, just like the mystery of like who actually killed this guy and how and why. But they do this interesting thing where like, you know how everyone tells a story like a little bit differently because it's just like how they perceive the events, or like maybe someone's not being completely truthful or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they play with that, and each episode, because it is from a different person's perspective, kind of goes with like a different genre. So like the first episode follows this guy, Anik, who is kind of just like going to the high school reunion to try to like reconnect with like the girl that got away and see if she's like still available and stuff like that. And so his episode is kind of like a rom-com type of thing where he's like, you know, it's like a romance, but he's like, you know, it's funny because he's like goofy and stuff like that. And then like the next episode is from like Ike Barinholtz's perspective, and he is like this kind of guy who like thinks he's like super cool and stuff like that. So his episode is all like an action movie. There's another character who for some reason her episode was like animated, like another person's episode is like a horror show, because
But it's all the same.
It's all the same, like different people's recollection of the same night, but told different ways, because like maybe not everyone experienced all the same events that night. And like so there's like interesting things that you'll start to notice, like there's this one car ride where like several people appeared in this or got into the same car to go to the after party, and each person's recollection of that car ride is like people are in different positions in the car.
Oh,
so, and it's like maybe not super necessary, but just interesting to see that like different people are like either remembering things different or intentionally changing things in the story to like fit their
narrative.
Like their narratives, to like try to be like, it wasn't me, it couldn't have been me, and stuff like that. Like one of my only complaints is just like the final reveal of who it actually was that killed the guy and why. It was like I kind of saw it coming like a while away, but it was still like fun to see how it happened. And yeah, I don't know, I just like, it was a very creative show. Just like I liked that they were somehow able to find an excuse to have a different style for each episode, but it all still like melds together. And like when they do the Sherlock Holmes style, like here's what really happened, and like here the investigator like piecing together the actual events of the night from like different concrete bits of evidence that she got from different people's stories. It's still very entertaining, but like it's just mostly really cool to see the different styles that they were able to put together in just this one show.
Was it pretty much like for each episode it was probably a different director, or
I don't know. I'd have to look that up actually.
okay.
But yeah, I don't know if they would do like another season of this show. I think it's like kind of a one and done type of story, but
Which could be good because it seems like it left a really good impression.
yeah, and also like a lot of like good stars in this, like Ben Schwartz is in it.
Oh,
Yeah, like Ike Barinholtz, I mentioned. Dave Franco is the guy who dies in the first episode.
oh my God,
He's
fantastic.
like, he's basically like the most successful person in their high school. Like he made it big as like I guess like a pop artist or whatever. And so he's just like, oh yeah, I'm so cool. Everyone loves me. I'm so rich.
Oh my God, that's
Like perfect
fantastic.
Dave Franco.
All right, that sounds honestly interesting. I'm probably gonna give that a watch then.
Yeah,
How many
it's
episodes
definitely
is it?
worth it. Um, you know what? Let me look that up. Not that many. I want to say like 8.
Okay.
Uh, the after party.
Well, you check that out. I got 2 more.
Yeah, there were 8 episodes.
8 episodes. Okay. How were they 30-minute or 1 hour episodes? Probably
They were
like
like all
45
30-minute
minute.
episodes. So it's
Oh,
like
okay.
it's also
That's
like
not bad.
really, yeah, it's really not that long. It you could blast through it in like a day or two.
All right, sounds good. I mean, I'm gonna have more free time since I'll just be sitting recovering from surgery. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah, I've just been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine recently. I'm like, cool. I have 3.5 seasons to get through. So it'll be fun. But okay, 2 more monster movies I got. One was Leviathan, and this is a 1989 movie that I gotta say is like The Thing underwater and not done as well, but you see what they were trying to do with it. And the cool thing about this is it's also another like, oh hey, here's some stuff that happened, but we don't really know what happened exactly. And they find like a Russian, I think it's Russian, I want to say a Russian sub, and they go in there and find something wrong. And they come back and everyone seems good to go. It's like one of those things where it's like a underwater research facility,
Mhm.
kind of like Underwater, I guess, the movie with like the Cthulhu stuff and whatnot. But everything seems cool until one guy just gets sick. And the whole thing is like you're trying to figure out what got him sick. And if you're watching the movie, you pretty much figure it out before the characters, like immediately, where the dude
Right.
took a flask from the Russian sub and then drank from it.
Oh, what? Why?
And you're
Why?
like, oh fuck. And pretty much he turns well, he doesn't turn, he pretty much dies. Like but he was like mutating, like something was wrong with him where he isn't looking hot, and all these other characters are like, what the fuck? And I think what happened was he shared the drink with another person and she starts getting sick, and she's freaking out because she's like, oh my god, I don't feel good. And they weren't really sure exactly what was happening. There's a whole thing where there's like a doctor who seemed like he was a doctor somewhere more prominent, and now he's here and he's very questionable because you're like, I don't trust this guy. Is he the one behind it all?
Right.
And he gives off that vibe, and he's testing all the different people, seeing like who has it, who doesn't. And when she
That does
figures
sound like the thing.
yeah, and they're trying to figure it out, everyone's just like, oh, everyone's like routine inspections and shit, and you're like, oh, okay, but it's not. And one of the women, there's like 2 women on this crew, and one of them starts realizing like, oh, I don't feel so good. And she goes in, like when she's getting all this stuff done, she sees the, I guess, quarantine room where the other guy was that was infected, and she goes in there and she's like, hey, I don't feel so good, how are you feeling? Checks him and sees he's like dead and mutating, and she's like, oh Jesus Christ, that's happening to me, holy shit. So she goes to the showers and like slits her wrists and kills
Oh my
herself
god.
because she's like, I don't want to turn into that. And you're like, I get it, okay, that makes sense, you don't want to be whatever that guy's going to be. It doesn't stop it. Literally they go, wait, where did they go? And it turns out because it was already taking control of her body, once it takes control, they're no longer alive, like they're dead. Like it's just like these are parasites that take control of the body itself, but the original
Interesting.
hosts are no longer anywhere alive. It's just like their body. It's just it took their body and that's it. It seems like they have to
Like
kill
even
you.
when she was still conscious, or just like
Well, she was already transforming, but she killed herself and it took her body from there.
I
So the
see.
bodies meet up and start merging, and they see it,
Oh.
and the faces are still there, and you're just like, oh fuck.
Ugh.
And it turns into a full like monster, and that's where the thing stuff comes in. Is it starts infecting people one by one through different means, and it could still be separate. So now there's different versions of the creature, and they're killing off the creature piece by piece. They're like, oh cool, we killed this creature. Oh no, but it also got that guy, so now that guy's a creature, and you're like, fuck. But it's not like it doesn't do the thing paranoia where you're like, oh well, who else has the who's faking it. It's like, oh, it's very visible when it's somebody, because that someone's dead and now there's a creature that's just like
Yeah.
and you're like, oh fuck. But it turns out the doctor's actually good, and there's like the corporate people are bad, because it turns out like the Russian thing was like an experiment where they're like, oh, we're going to experiment on our own people, and they gave them the liquids and just to see what would happen, and they're like, oh, that's what happens. Oh fuck, well now we know, and we got to test it. Cool. And the corporate people are pretty much the same, where they're like, oh well, we're going to try to get you help and get you back up here, and they figure out what's going on, and they're like, oh, they're not going to come help us, like they're pretty much going to screw us. The doctor is good to a full extent of he's only thinking about the big picture, and he's like, oh, if these things get up there, then they're going to try to do shit like this to the world, and I don't want the world to get destroyed by this, so that just means we all have to die.
Oh my god.
So he sabotages like their escape pretty much, so they can't get out. And it makes sense. Like you're like, oh cool, he wasn't like evil experiment scientist, he was, oh, I got to make sure the world doesn't die scientist. So just through
Yeah.
unfortunate collateral means. But overall, what's crazy is Ernie Hudson is in this movie, of all people. You know Ernie Hudson, the Ghostbuster?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's in it, and you're the whole time you're like, oh shit, Ernie Hudson, I hope he doesn't die. And Ernie Hudson is surviving everything, and you're so excited. It's like down to 3 people left. It's like the main who was in charge. It was like the main white guy played by it was Peter Weller. You know him as, of course, RoboCop. And then there was Amanda Pay's character, Willie, and they pretty much get out, and the creature is chasing it. Like they think they leave the creature down there, and they get to the surface, and they're like, holy shit, we fucking did it, we fucking did it. And the helicopter is coming to save them, and all of a sudden fucking sharks come up, and we were joking like, oh, they got out, and watch there be like sharks or something, and then sharks come up, and you're like, oh my fucking god, they really are showing sharks right now. And then they go, no, the sharks aren't enough, and the last creature comes up too and is like, I'm here, bitch. And you're like, oh shit.
Oh no.
And it kills Ernie Hudson, and you're like, no, Ernie, or it looks like it's killing him. And they like destroy it, and they get into the helicopter, and everyone smiles and goes, thumbs up. And you're like, why are you smiling? Ernie Hudson's fucking dead. Why did you let it kill Ernie Hudson? And they just get on the ship, and the CEO woman's like, oh, I see you all made it. And fucking RoboCop Peter Weller just punches her in the face. And you're like, yeah, at least corporate pays a little bit. But it's such a crazy movie. But like I said, you get the thing, you feel full. They were going for Underwater the Thing, but
Yeah.
they just couldn't pull it off as well. Like it was missing a lot of the aspects that the thing had, whether it was the pacing, the characters. Well, actually, no, the characters were more or less pretty good. It just didn't have as many as the Thing movie did. And the Thing, just everything about it, the music, the feel, every aspect felt perfect. Whereas this one was much more like, you could feel it was going for the A that the Thing was, but it wound up as a C.
I see.
Yeah. And then the other movie was a very interesting one. Do you remember? I don't know if you ever, when you were younger, you had access to ABC, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember they used to do like, because ABC is owned by Disney, they did like these Disney movies every now and again. Like they would be like, oh, here's an ABC TV movie, and they did like
like ABC Family stuff.
Yeah, they were like, oh, here's the Black Cinderella movie that had Brandy and Whitney Houston in it and stuff. And you're like, oh shit, this is Like for me, that was like my favorite version of Cinderella, and I was like, oh my god, this is great. And there's like a weird royal family because the mom's Whoopi Goldberg, the dad is Dr. Martin Stein from Legends of Tomorrow, and it's like this these white and black parents, and their son is Filipino, who's the prince, and you're like, huh? But as a kid, you don't question it. You're like, oh, that makes sense, and he sings. That's cool. And he's gonna go marry Brandy. All right, but that same channel makes a 2-part TV movie called Creature, which is like King Shark, but prosthetic King Shark, like in the Suicide Squad.
Okay.
But it's like crazy shark guy, and it's like a 2-part TV movie. So it turns out to be over 3 hours when you put it together. And we're like, oh, we're gonna watch this. And I'm like, wait, so how long are these movies put together though? Because obviously, if it's like a TV movie, we're not gonna get that creature the whole time. And my friend Ty is like, or he's been on the show before. He's like, oh, it's over 3 hours, and I'm like, we're doing this in one day. We're gonna watch a fucking television movie in one day. And I'm just like, all right, guys, we're gonna watch this, get drinks, because we don't know how long it's gonna feel, and we don't know how we're gonna feel. So just bring drinks. And we start watching it, and it turns out it's actually a fun movie. Like, we don't get bored. It's somehow consistently entertaining. It's got Giancarlo Esposito in it.
Oh,
and he's much younger. He plays like a military scientist guy who the shark thing gets out. So he kind of goes crazy after like he witnesses like the killing of the main doctor, and he goes to he like takes a ship away with the monster in it, and he's like, I can't kill it, but I can't let it live either, so I'm sorry. And he leaves it like in a cage thing, but the cage eventually he gets let out of the cage at a certain point, and it starts going on like a killing rampage. But during that entire time though, he went crazy, so now he's just a local that people call werewolf, and he's just like, oh,
okay,
it's fucking insane. And he just keeps sneaking onto ships and shit with the main characters, and they're like, oh, it's this guy again. And eventually they just take him with them on stuff because they're like, wait, do you know what this thing is? And he's like, and they're like, he knows what this shit is. There's a fucking shark man out there and he knows about it. So he just like goes with them, and then like at the end like sacrifices himself to save them or to help kill the shark thing.
Interesting.
But there's stuff like the military, and these Navy SEALs go there, and then they all just get got one by one. It's pretty funny. But it's funny because they go to like Jamaica or something. So you have all the natives that are just like, fuck white people, or like fuck the guys that come over, because they're just like, you know, mainlanders trying to profit off of them and all this stuff. One crazy thing is this movie has one guy that I was not expecting. Like, all right, I'm like, oh shit, they got Giancarlo Esposito. That's awesome. They also had a younger Cress Williams, aka Black Lightning from the CW Black Lightning TV show. And he plays a guy that I think they call him Tall Boy or Tall Man. And he's like the doctor's assistant that helps him with everything. But the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, yo, I hope they don't kill Black Lightning, because that would be insane. And he lives through it. But it's actually, the cool thing about this movie is this shark prosthetic. They're like, okay, we have a budget and we can only afford one like shark prosthetic suit thing. But they're like, if we're going to do it, we're going to make it really fucking good. And they put a shit ton of money, I'm pretty sure, into it. I don't know how much exactly, but it looks really good, James. If you actually just Google like ABC creature movie and look up the shark actually looks, for the time it came out in the 90s, looks really good for what they actually pulled off there. And if you just are a fan of production design and creature design, then I would say at least just watch clips of the movie. You could watch the full thing. It's on YouTube in like 2 parts. There's, you know, rips online too you could find. But not I'm suggesting you rip off a movie, even though it's a fucking TV movie that you can't have access to anywhere. They probably don't even have that on DVD or have any way to actually purchase it legally. But where you can find it, it is really interesting to see the design.
What was the name of the movie again?
Creature. It's literally called Creature.
Just Creature. Okay.
Yeah. But definitely a really cool movie. I'd recommend, like I said, just checking out the design. And if you want to see more of it, go for the movie. Fast forward if you want through certain parts, but more or less it's good. And it's starring what's his face that voices Mr. Incredible in The Incredibles is in it too. Let me double check it. Yeah, it stars Craig T. Nelson, who's literally Mr. Incredible. It's got Kim Cattrall. For those that remember her, she's in Big Trouble in Little China, as well as probably for what most people know her from is Sex and the City. So it's actually got a good cast. Like I said, it's got like young Giancarlo Esposito. It's got Cress Williams. It's a very interesting movie. Uh, but yeah, it came out in like 98. What a good time for sure. And how are we doing on time? I think we got time for like one more thing if you want to knock something else out, James.
Let's see if I got anything I want to talk about.
Because I don't think I have enough time to talk down them.
Right, we already talked about. See, this is the problem. Like I have like so many things I've started but haven't really finished. Like,
Gotcha. Want me to knock out one more thing then?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. I guess the shortest thing I could think of is actually the thing I finished last night, which was the 4th season of Disenchanted.
Oh yeah, I think I'm like 2 seasons behind on that. Like, I don't know. I like it, but it's not
like I
my
said before, like
thing.
right? Isn't it? It just feels very average. It just feels
Yeah.
okay. Like you get a couple chuckles and that's it.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, I would say the 4th season in terms of just entertainment, or I guess some laughs and feeling more interesting, is probably one of the better seasons of the series.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but it felt at least better because I talked about seasons 2 and 3, and I just was not probably energetic at all towards them. And I'm not for this either, but it feels a little bit better. And it's funny because this show, I don't know why I keep watching it. It's like I think it has 3 things going for it. One is it's an animated fantasy that's like somewhat adult to the point where I think I actually see an animated penis in this one. Like they actually show the king's dick at a certain point. And I literally, actually no, it did. Because what happened was they show it and you don't think you actually saw it. And you're like, wait, what was that in the background there? Like he's all the way in the back of like this church with all these characters. And you're like, they didn't show his dick. And so I nonchalantly rewind and then pause it. And then I kind of, I get my face up to the TV and I look closely and I'm like, bro, that's a dick. That's a dick hanging. And there's his there's his red hair, pubes and everything. All right. There's the full bush and all of it. There's the king's penis. All good to go there. So that was pretty fun. And the king's voiced by John DiMaggio. He's voiced by Bender. So it's just like it's Bender's the king, which is one of the reasons I keep watching it, is because the voice cast is straight up. It's like you're watching fantasy Futurama, just not as good. It's like if Futurama was an A, this is a C minus. You're just kind of like it's the same animation tone, which the creators of Futurama are all the same guys for the Simpsons.
It's Matt Groening.
Yeah, it's Matt Groening. Did Simpsons, did Futurama, and now is doing this, and you're more of giving him the benefit of the doubt because of what he's done so far with those other 2 shows. But you just feel like you're watching Futurama and you have a lot of the same voice cast, like a lot of the same voice cast. Like it feels exactly the same, just characters are moved around a bit and stuff. And yeah, this season felt more interesting a bit and I enjoyed it. And I'll watch a 5th season. I don't know. They keep getting me for more. And now that Futurama is coming back too, I'm even more just kind of like, all right, fine. You got me. Like, I'll keep going.
I think it's like good enough to keep going, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Otherwise, like I said, this story arc in this one seemed more interesting. And they did another, like they always end it with like a weird change up of like who's ruling the kingdom now, and they do it each time. And this one's like, oh, who's ruling the kingdom? It's like, oh, devil, and you're like, what the fuck? Okay,
interesting.
I won't say anything else of like how that comes to be and who's like with him and whatnot and stuff, but there's like different things that occur that are somewhat interesting. And yeah, I guess if you miss Futurama and you want something to kind of satisfy that look and feel and sound, this would be the show for you. Just don't expect the same caliber of storytelling and jokes because it's not going to be as good. And you're going to watch it and go, that was fine. It's like a time passer. But I would say if you feel like there's better shows that you want to watch that are going to be really good, then I would probably say watch those over this anytime for sure. But that is all I'll say for today. I've got other stuff to talk about, but save South Park and Gundam and
is
shit
Simpsons
for another time.
Still going?
Yeah, dude. They
It's
haven't
like,
killed it yet. It's still going.
yeah, I mean, I guess you could,
Oh,
if
it's gonna
you,
James, it's gonna
yeah.
get bigger. The Disney already said they're gonna do movies and everything.
Wow. Okay.
It's Disney money now, dude. The fucking Disney's like,
That's fair.
yeah, it's gonna be all of that. So that's
Like I
gonna
could have
happen.
sworn Matt Groening. I never know how to pronounce his name. Like I could have sworn he said after the first movie, he was just like, "I'm never doing that again," because that was a lot of work.
Yeah, that was pre-Disney though.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I think I eventually want to go back to The Simpsons and just restart it from the beginning.
That's so much though,
I
dude. There's so
know
many
it's
seasons I've missed.
well that's the thing with Disney Plus specifically. I feel, and now actually Paramount Plus too.
Yeah, it's all there.
Paramount Plus and Disney Plus have two things that the other or I actually, you know what, HBO Max does too. They all have three things that have a distinct like
You want all that Star
rewatchability.
Trek from Paramount Plus?
Shut the fuck up. Not Star Trek. Paramount Plus has old Nickelodeon.
All right.
HBO Max has old Cartoon Network, and Disney Plus has old Disney Channel like cartoons where it's like, oh, here's Hercules and Tarzan, a TV show, and all these other ones, and Chip and Dale Rescue, like
Yeah.
the real Chip and Dale.
Gargoyles.
Fucking Gargoyles is on there. The old X-Men shows are on there now, and Spider-Man. All these old shows, and I'm like, oh my god, I could totally watch all of these. And it's like I'm trying to watch, new things and keep going with really keeping up with all the new current shit. But there's going to be days when you don't want to watch stuff that you're like, I want to really pay attention and check it out. There's going to be days when you're like, I just want to watch something and turn my brain off and just enjoy either nostalgia or just not have to think. And all of those shows are perfect for that. Like, I think I started a couple episodes of the old Hercules cartoon and was doing that.
Yeah.
And the great thing is, like, I'm not going to come and watch those and then talk about it here because that's like a completely different thing. But it's nice...
like how I keep watching like Mountain Men type shows, and I'm like not going to talk about that here because it's like, yeah, I watched some people living in the mountains and kind of thought about living in Alaska.
That's why I'm making sure. I'm trying to also make sure like I'm not including certain things here. Like if I watch certain documentaries, I'm probably not going to talk about it here. More unless it's something with a big message, then I'll be like, oh shit. But if it's like BBC's Earth, I'm like, I'm just
go watch One Strange Rock. It's the best documentary I've ever seen, possibly.
But you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like during this week, if I'm just like chilling and either playing or watching stuff, like I'll probably do a mix of things. So like, oh, I want to binge like these shows I should have watched already and blah blah. But then maybe I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch Kids Next Door because fuck it, yeah.
I wish for shows like this that are just like, there's so many seasons and so many episodes, and you just like, if it doesn't have like an ongoing story like Family Guy or Simpsons or whatever, I wish there was a way to just say, play me a random episode from somewhere in the catalog and just put that on like,
as if it was on TV. Random TV episode.
Like for those times where you like, you're not quite in the mood for like a specific thing, but you just want to put something on in the background. Like I have YouTube shows like that, and I could put that on random, but like, I don't know, for some reason, like Netflix or any of the other ones, like I think Netflix eventually put on a random anything button, but I wish you could just go to a show with like 10 seasons and just be like, I don't care, just play me one random episode.
I think I still want to do order just for the hell of it, just because
that's fair.
But I think the two shows I do want to really check it out are specifically Simpsons and SpongeBob, because I want to know where I stopped. Like I want to know where I stopped watching and then see stuff where I'm like, what the fuck is happening? They completely changed. Like I want to know where that happened, like what year, what season, just to be curious. And also you can never go wrong with the old SpongeBob.
I'm going to sound insane, but SpongeBob is low key like a genius show.
Oh, it is. And it's insanely good. And it has so much adult themes that you don't think about until you're older. And then you go back and you go, this is now even better than it was when I was a kid.
Well, it's like the little things, like every once in a while they'll cut to like a hyper realistic drawing, and it's like so random, and random humor just gets me so well.
Does this face look unsure to you? No.
I don't need it. I need it.
It's so fucking the Wormy episode where he turns into a butterfly and they do the close up on the butterfly face and they're like, oh fuck. So
and like what I remember, one of the strangest things of that show is when SpongeBob got like sick or something. He got the suds.
Yeah.
And his like treatment was being used as an actual sponge in like, and they had like real life footage of like someone taking a yellow sponge and like scraping it against like a cactus and like against a wall and shit
No,
like
it
that.
was it was like all shower and smooth stuff. And then
Oh, is
Patrick
that it?
goes, I have the suds too. So they take the
Oh,
starfish and put them on the cactus and all this
that's what
other
it
shit.
was.
Yeah.
And I, like as a kid, I was like, I'm so confused. So they're real though?
Except, yeah, I mean, you get to the movie too, and you're just like, oh fuck, there's a dry, like the, when they dry all the sea life and sell them as souvenirs and shit.
Yeah.
They do everything in that stuff, and it's fantastic.
I can't believe Keanu Reeves was in one of those movies.
That's the thing. I only watched the first movie and I saw it in theaters. The second movie, I don't know if I told you guys here, but when I was in Savannah, Georgia at SCAD, when I was going to school, they were shooting the second movie there. And they showed
Shooting
they
it.
shot,
Oh, right, because they did have real life places.
they shot like Baywatch, they shot Magic Mike 2 or something. They shot SpongeBob 2 all there in Savannah when I was there. And I remember I straight up, it was like either film festival time or if it was just going to class early and I had like an 8 a.m. class. So I'm like getting up early and getting everything ready and leaving. And I lived downtown at the time. So I was right on the main street of the city downtown. And that's where they were shooting. And I just remember coming down from the loft. It was like a loft apartment upstairs. So I come down, I come out the door and I just look in front of me because it's like sort of like an alleyway entrance, but like straight to the main street. I just look. I see a giant pirate ship on wheels drive by with Antonio Banderas dressed up as a pirate on it, just drive by. And I'm looking up at it and I'm like, it's too early for this shit right now. And I just go to class and I'm just like, I'm so fucking tired. I don't want to deal with this right now. And like straight up, Antonio Banderas is on a pirate ship fucking driving right past me. And I'm just like, I just need to get to class, man. And that was from the fucking SpongeBob movie. I know one of my buddies was one of the extras at the beach. There was like a beach scene at Tybee Island. And he's in it too. And eventually I was supposed to watch that movie to see where he was in it, and I never did. And I'm like, oh yeah, I still have to watch that movie. So yeah, SpongeBob. I don't know how we got here, but all right, yeah, watching old stuff. But yeah. And that was Sutro Sidetalk, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. And I honestly didn't think I'd need my light. I'm like, oh, we'll be done before it gets dark. And it's like, so you could sort of see everything getting darker from the background. It's
Daylight
great.
savings failed us.
Fucking, I was so angry. I'm like, why is it 2 a.m. already?
Yeah. I'm on the camp of the people that it just like, can we not do this anymore?
Yeah, can we not? I hate it.
Just pick one and just like keep it.
Because there's 2 days a year. There's 1 year you look forward to because you go, I get an hour, and then you get to here and you go, I hate everything.
Dude, I got so mad when I found out the United States is the only one that does this. I was like, wait, you're kidding
this
me.
This is the country with the worst healthcare in the world. What do you expect?
That's fair. I was just
God.
Wait, no one else does this stupid bullshit? We do this by choice? Why? No one likes it.
I think, Arizona doesn't do it. Arizona was like, we're not doing this. I'm pretty sure they don't participate in that kind of shit. So like there's certain parts of time of the year where I think we're like 2 hours behind Arizona instead of 1 or something like that. I forgot how it works.
That's so bizarre. Oh yeah. God, I hate it so much.
But yeah, that's been Sutro Sidetalk. And we will potentially come back next week with Destiny 2, the Witch Queen expansion. We'll see how it goes. Plus season of the Chosen, not Chosen, season of the Lost.
Last
yeah,
season.
We still gotta talk about that. But potentially that, and then down the line, Horizon 2. Hopefully we'll do our best to get that. I honestly think we could probably do that either this month or next month. I honestly think we could do that this month.
I mean, hopefully by next month. I'm kind of jetting through the story. So
we're like not even halfway through the month. That's why I'm like, we got like
a
couple weeks or so left. It's not even March 15th yet. Oh God, St. Patrick's Day is soon, huh? I can't go anywhere.
I guess so.
Someone bring me a Shamrock Shake. Don't actually do that. I don't need McDonald's. Don't actually give me a Shamrock Shake. I don't want that. You can always contact us though. If you want to leave us feedback, comments, or questions you want us to read on the show, send them to sutrosidetalk@gmail.com. Once again, that is the title of the show, sutrosidetalk@gmail.com. And you can follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Sutro Sidetalk. You can subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to or watching. If it is Apple Podcasts, though, give us 5 stars. If it's Spotify, please rate us. And if it is YouTube, give us a like besides subscribing. That would help us out a lot. And of course, we will catch you guys. Oh, sorry. Invader Jim 124 on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
And GoGoComzilla on Twitter as well. But until next week, see you later.
Thanks for listening.